So, this class we will discuss about patent management. Okay. Class 1 we have discussed about let us say patent say prosecutions, patent filing procedure we discussed in earlier week. So, patent basics also we have discussed. Then the criteria for patentability we have discussed. Then we have discussed about let us say patent infringement in last class. Now, as you are technologists or engineers, so you will be treated as a managers. So, now what way you can manage the patent for an organization, let us discuss about that. There also definitely I will go back to the discussion already we had that discussion. We may have to repeat few of those things here to get an idea of the management of the patents. And when we fully discussed about all the forms of IP, then I will consider that as an IP management. Here simply let us say get an idea, get some idea of the patent management. So, if I ask you what do you mean by management? Just like say for managing something for greater goal, just like a how will you consider economical sense, always consider let us say financial concept we can consider just a demand supply gap, how will you manage. And for marketing managers you may consider how will you make your product more marketable just through advertisement, through promotion, to increase the sale. So, then similarly human resource management, human resource managers will manage the human resources properly. Then supply chain managers will maintain the qualities, indicate quality part. Okay. So, different way that a different context we use the term managers and the work involved called management. Okay. Work involved with reference to that I call management. Okay. So, let us say here we are treating that you have been recruited, let us say because we are trying to make it more practical, more useful these kinds of courses. So, let us say you have been hired in a company as a patent managers. So, in what will be the your job, that part may be little bit we can highlight. So, how can you be a good manager for as a good manager for the organization. So, here we are discussing that issues. Okay. So, now in respect of patent I have created that management of patents. I have created in those three circle here. I have created whatever my thought process in respect of that. So, there just like say a manager's job I have created within the how can you make an say integration between creator, transaction, so creation, transaction and enforcement. So, although different players involved all those circle, but managers will try to integrate all those circles. So, I have for that reason I have created let us say management involve creation say involve integration of creation, transaction and enforcement of rights. Okay. He is let us say as he is involved he is ultimately informing or integrating all those activities. Okay. So, let us say analyzed those things a little bit elaborately. Okay. So, one part let us say creation of right, COR, let us say I am putting out creation of rights. Okay. So, that let us say company have something. So, situation may arises they need further creation, or company had something they do not know whether they have some potential IP on that, potential patent can be generated out of that. So, maybe then you make say let us say defined way, let us say based on need of the company, you are informing your R&D team, okay, that okay, we have to create some sorts of patent in that direction for your company to be competitive enough, so ultimately achieve some market power. So, now creation of rights will be done by or a situation arises that okay, by means of you can make just involve the audit team. There is another team may be there, audit team, let us say patent audit or IP audit team. Just okay, find out any potential invention, invention in that directions. So, you just communicating that need to IP audit team or R&D team. Okay. So, now they will ultimately audit team try to find out that whatever the potential patents that need to be protected, okay, or R&D team will do further R&D for that part, and they will try to generate some sorts of potential invention. So, now how that patent say rights will be created? Can you tell how the patent rights will be created, whether patent right is automatic or patent rights should be created by means of some procedural aspects. So, there you have to involve then that say other team members in respect of that. So, need R&D teams, maybe along with the R&D teams you have that patent search engineers, patent analyst team, let us say analyst team. So, you just involve patent analyst teams. So, whether whatever the invention you are thinking about or the invention you are generating, what the invention you are trying to whatever the invention you are trying to invent, all the things that patent analyst you have to involve the patent analyst. How can you invent around? If somebody is a patent, they will find out how can you invent around that invention, or what are the available patent, who are the say patent holder in that field, all everything they will ultimately do a search and analyzed. So, patent analyst job will be to further communicate that R&D team with reference to that invention, how that invent around, what will be the way they can do that invention, and IP audit, patent analyst, all those things they are involved in, let us say creation of right. Now, along with that you may involve a legal team. So, they will ultimately further say because patent rights is by virtue of not simply by virtue of creation, registration is required, registration not simply registration, it is also examination based system. Patent right, government give the right to the patent to the inventor, government give the right based on what examination, filing, first filing, then publication, already you have got the thing, publication, then examination. Opposition and other part I am not putting within the purview of the government job, they can also they also deals with that. So, Now, so for creation of rights, so as a manager is trying to integrate IP audit team, patent analyst teams, legal teams will try to create that rights by means of filing of application. So, how you convert, how you draft that components. If you are taking the service of outside services, then you can involve the legal team from the outside of the organization. Okay. So, now based on that you are filing the patent application. Now, patent analyst also will judge the criteria for patentability, just like say novelty, okay, and then inventive step also. So, inventive steps, these two things also they will judge patent say novelty and inventive steps based on the search. Now, can I have, do I have to repeat these two concepts again? Let us repeating that thing. Novelty means no prior art. So, in that field no prior art exists. So, then it will be considered as novel, and inventive steps, that say that invention means let us say improvement or say just like say based on the I already referred that based on the James Watt steam engine invention, that improvement also come up in the purview of invention. Let us consider on that part. So, improvement should be sufficient leap, just like say this should not be say should not fall within the purview of the person having the average knowledge in that field. That improvement should be beyond the average knowledge of the people in that field, beyond. So, here also I already demand D1 plus D2, the if that ordinary average people able to club, average people having the average knowledge in that field able to club and generate let us say D invention means D3, D is the invention, then also that can be possible. And for invention step in novelty D1 D2 means D1 D2, D1 means D1 is the prior art, D2 is your invention, or D1 D2, then D is the invention, and D1 is destroying novelty of the invention D. Okay. So, single prior art will destroy the novelty. For inventive step you can club the prior art. Who will can club the prior art? If average person can able to club the prior art, then it will not be considered having the inventive steps. Okay. So, inventive steps, that patent analyst teams will judge novelty and inventive. I am simply repeating against inventive step. How will you judge? Again I am repeating problem solution approach or based on TSM method, teaching suggestion and motivation method, you can able to judge this part. So, your job is the manager, means you are integrating the analyst is changing the novelty, inventive steps. Say then IP audit teams is thinking about let us say what are the potential IP may have, that okay, who can be the just like how you can create that valid rights, whether some employee is a now employee is a permanent employee, temporary employee, whether what will be the problem if we treated as inventors, whether there is what type of agreement we have to say agreement we have to make with that inventors, what is the employer agreement, how will the ownership part, proper title part, everything they may check IP audit team. So, now creation of rights is involved by virtue of that. So, your creation of rights part, filing, publication, examination. So, legal team may be communicating with that part, or say already you have a patent, but you have not renewed that patents. So, now for you may refer that okay, now this patent should be renewed or restored. So, by virtue of that renewal and restoration, renewal RENEWE renewal or restoration also, you are trying to protect the rights or of the organization. So, renewal, restoration. So, creation of rights is by virtue of filing the patent, by doing restoration, renewal, or maybe let us say working, non-working lead to that removal of rights. So, try to work maybe in a limited way. All those things we have discussed now as how we are integrating those things in respect of management of patent. I am trying to explain that component. So, clear about the first circle means creation of rights, how are integrating the different people as a managers, you are trying to integrate the creation of different creation of rights, how you create the R&D teams may create, but for R&D team, how R&D teams you are just involving R&D team with the patent analyst teams, or you are involving with the IP audit teams, then along with that legal teams, all the things you have to integrate and manage. You understand the creation of rights involve again the different different peoples. Okay, so let's say researcher, he is researching. So what will be the research? What way the research can be the asset for that organization? I have to think about a multinational company. Then if you don't do that part, then that's a research simply will be considered as a sunk cost, will not be recovered. Okay, so creation of rights. Then another part is coming up. You created patent rights. Okay, so now if you don't nurture with your rights, or means if you don't say licensed or in license or say out license or use it in your product portfolio or your company's product portfolio or company's business profile, then there is no worth of that patent. So, I will put that will not never translated into an asset. Okay, you have a patent right, it will not be considered into an asset. So, there lies that how can you out license your oscillation license, or what will be the benefit if you sell your that patent. What can be the benefit if you license that patent to company B, whether so that part will come within the purview of transaction of rights. So, there again you have to integrate. So, transaction of right, transaction of right. Here different way may come up. Say let us say I am considering with respect of a company, I consider with respect to educational institute, or in that case you may thought about entrepreneurs, okay, to form a startup company. In a company perspective also you think about whether I will create a subsidiary out of that. Your invention is not directly meeting your product portfolio, present product portfolio, then you can think about a subsidiaries out of that patent. So, there also you can in a nice way use your patents. Okay. So, got that thing, that is a transaction of rights means what way the patent rights will be used. So, in that case transaction to that subsidiary company, maybe from parent company to subsidiary company, or you create a subsidiary company out of that patents, subsidiary company, or you take license that patent, or you can sell that patent, or you can assign that patent right. This part also can be done different way, just like say like a sole license we call sometime license, sometime we call it exclusive license, sometime we call non-exclusive license, different ways can be licensed also. And okay, so what will be the benefit route? So, maybe there is a team member who is taking care of, maybe legal team member who is taking care of the transaction. Here also maybe that another team member who is evaluating your patent. So, patent valuation teams may be involved there. So, here the different teams may be a valuation team is also involved. So, okay, maybe a strategy team you may create, strategy or strategy team you have created. Okay. Strategy team, they are making strategy with reference to whether we will go for a subsidiary company, whether license out, whether sell, assign. valuation team is giving the value of that patents using the different routes. Just like valuation is done by different routes. I may refer later on in the classes, just like a cost based method, income based method, market based method. This is the traditional methods applicable for valuation of patent and also IPs, just like cost incurred to create that rights. Then income, what can be the potential income out of that patent based on the then market, what is the market situation, based on the market situation how can you consider that patents. Okay. So, these are the different part you are thinking about with reference to the patent. Okay, patent, just like say what are the different way the transaction of rights. So, if you do not transact, no money will come up, no return on investment will come up, investment is also coming in R&D, invested is also coming into filing and maintenance, but no return. So, you have to think about what way the return on investment come up, their transaction transaction of rights is the important components. How can you transact your patent right? So, there is the important component transaction of rights. Okay. So, this is the another part, transaction of rights. There is how many patent, what way you are transacting, what transaction will be beneficial. That also a manager may integrate along and say coordinate with that valuation team, strategy team, along with the let us say maybe marketing team and others. So, transaction of rights is the important part. So, then one important part in patent and another form of IP, just like say that this is very beautiful beauty of the intellectual property. What is the beauty? It is intangible. So, you can this can be used simultaneously by n number of people, can use it because intangible. Using your process, n number of product can be made by n number of entities. Okay. So, n number of entities through IP and it is intangible. So, now one important parameters to get money out of your patents is also by means of filing an infringement suit. Okay. So, you will get some damages. Okay. So, let us say you have a patent. Now, somebody is using your patent and you are also keeping idle. Then also you are losing a potential revenue out of your patents, because another company is trying to market or use the market share using your own patent without involving their R&D or without any investment. But beauty of the IP system, what I am telling that okay, here you used your patent by working of the patent and you are preventing other to use your patent. So, when somebody is trying to use your patent, then what you are doing? You are filing an infringement suit, and when you are filing the infringement suit, then you will get some sorts of money from them in the form of damages. You know that recent case, Stanford University got some damages from a multinational company because they were violating their patent rights. You know that different types of patent infringement suits reported from USA and heavy damages say because Google say Apple versus Samsung case, you know that regarding the touch screen battle in Korea and USA, you know that how much what was the amount of damages one company had to pay to the other company. So, see the value in respect of damages. So, you will get a potential revenue from the damages that will obtain if somebody infringe your patent rights. So, why not to use that also for the benefit of the company, and also why not to say file a suit for infringement if some potential infringement has been occurring. So, enforcement of rights. Enforcement of rights is another component that say that manager may have to integrates along with that, let us say analyst team, say patent search team or analyst team. They are ultimately very keeping an watch of potential infringers, their product in the market. So, they will ultimately so the managers may have to integrate with say legal teams. Manager may have to integrate with the other teams. So, that way the enforcement of rights is also important in STEM or milestone in respect of patent infringement, in respect of patent management. Okay. So, now you are clear about that patent management, what way you can that is as a patent manager you can work in a organization, how can you integrate that is a creation of right, then transaction of right, then enforcement of rights. Okay. So, enforcement of rights will give some sorts of revenue, transaction of rights will give some sorts of revenue, creation of rights, maybe you are ultimately investing some sorts of money, I will say. So, but return is coming by means of transaction and enforcement. So, input output model if you try to create. So, input is coming by virtue of creation of rights and output is coming through transaction of right and enforcement of rights. So, how can you make a proper balance between the input and output or an organization using the patent? That will be the job of the managers, and patent management in layman understanding you may put the how creation of rights, transaction of right and enforcement of rights, and integration of all those things I am putting in the purview of patent management. Although there are others say steps involved in that part. I partly explained all those things just like say different parts we will later on analyze, just like say IP audit. What do you mean by IP audit is an important steps organization have to do time to time that patent audit because the because title should be perfect title, perfect should not be imperfect. Consider Stanford versus Roche case, Stanford versus Roche case, that is a incident of the case. So, perfect title, how can you create the perfect title, audit team. Then in the transaction part also, that due diligence and valuation important part, how you do proper due diligence, negotiations, all those things. So, negotiation team, due diligence teams, all the peoples and valuation teams, all the peoples will be involved in the transaction of rights part. Then enforcement of rights part, then how much damage you may claim out of that, there is no clear cut formula out of that, but let us say maybe valuation team give some idea to the say enforcement team or legal team how they can draft the plaint and claim the damages for that kinds of infringement. Okay. So, let's that integrate all those things for patent management perspectives. So, let us say nice way you can create a cartoon out of that. Let us say a cartoon for creation, a cartoon for transaction, and a cartoon for enforcement of rights. So, integration of all those things is coming within the purview of management. Okay. And let us end this module with reference to the patent specifically ending with the management. Okay.